Now that 5-story buildings are permitted and flood zone developments have been approved, what specific actions will you take to protect Wilton's remaining natural and visual character and ensure that future development balances affordability and accessibility?
So the vision I have for Wilton and our plan of conservation and development is that it should clearly define our priorities for smart growth, open space preservation, median income housing planning, infrastructure improvements, and prioritizing adaptive reuse. The planning process, as I've said prior, must include and seek the public input. That is the key to a successful plan for increasing engagement and for increasing buy-in from stakeholders. The stakeholders is every single resident of Wilton, Connecticut. Thank you.
Ms. Riff?
While we do need the extra space, obviously, for the apartments, I don't think that Wilton Town Center could benefit from all the buildings being 5 stories. It would be like a little mini New York. You wouldn't see the daylight. It's inappropriate for our town. We all agree that we need to have a diversification, a variety of housing options, bringing people in, but 5 stories is too much for town with the roof and the garage and everything else there. There are locations that we can identify where it's appropriate to have, the 3 stories, and it works well. It's in other towns around us as well. Some of them only have 1 and 3, but without really identifying each lot within town and what is appropriate in our view, what we already have, what's coming up that we're unaware of. We're going to end up with whatever the developers decide to do piece by piece. So that's why a cohesive plan, forward-thinking, community-focused is what we need to get back on track.
Ms. Rainey?
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure getting to go door to door and canvassing with voters in town. And someone said something to me last week that I had just taken for granted living here. But she said that she had lived in many suburban areas outside of large cities across the country, and not one of them had as much space per house as Wilton does, right? She had lived in San Francisco, outside of Dallas, outside of Chicago, small lots, nothing being this close to New York City and having this much space is really, really special. It makes Wilton really special, and we need to maintain that. What do people like best about Wilton? Well, obviously our schools, #1. #2 is the Norwalk River Valley Trail. People love the outdoor spaces that we have, and we really need to maintain them. And like Michelle was saying, when we put together the next plan of conservation and development, we really need to be proactive and getting input from the community and what they want to see, what spaces are important to them that we maintain. I don't think anyone wants to see, beautiful old trees being cut down to make space for new development. So we really need to be thoughtful about what are the best spots for new development to go and what do we need to maintain about Wilton.
Mr. Chris?
Well, I do think that we have a great blueprint for success. I'm an outdoorsman, love to be out on all the trails that we have, the conservation lands, and I think we have an awful lot of that. What we do have is an eyesore on Route 7, and Route 7 is a great opportunity for us to work with developers and be very proactive in how we're going to develop the properties to, again, increase revenue. We have so many dormant properties along Route 7. I'm not a proponent of seeing the downtown corridor, a beautiful downtown, ever see another massive 5-story building go up again. I think that area of our town is naturally beauty. I mean, there's just natural beauty there with the river, and I think there's a lot of pedestrian areas throughout that area that are terrific. But Route 7 is a problem. I think that you mentioned an ability for, say, ASML or the next ASML to ride your bike to work. I wouldn't ride my bike on Route 7. Frankly, I have soon-to-be 16-year-old who I don't even know I'd let her drive to school because Route 7 is really a very scary road. The fact that there hasn't been a fatality on Route 7 is a miracle, and that road is controlled by the state of Connecticut. And what I think we should do is we should use the commercial properties that sit on either side of Route 7 as leverage to improve the safety. Not only will it improve safety for all of our drivers, but also will create a better retail experience for those that come to this town to invest, hundreds of millions of dollars in capital. Thank you.
Mr. Hufford?
So one of the ways I think we could actually help people understand what the potential development in town is, and this is a little geeky, but I apologize, I'm a little geeky, is to develop 3D models of the town. We actually could do that. We could take the overlays. The downtown's actually pretty small. There are only about 20 or 30 or 40 buildings. And we could actually take the overlays that define what's allowed, and we could actually build the town virtually. We could go to one of the colleges nearby, and they could build it. And they could build 3 or 4 cases, and they're not perfect models, and they'd be really quick, and we could do this. And you could walk through the town, and you could say, what if we let it be 5 stories? What if we let it be 3 stories? And this would be a great way to see what the town could be.
Mr. Hoffman?
Like many people here, we moved to Wilton because of the schools, and that was what drew us originally to the town, was the quality of the school system. And now that we have outsourced our children completely, we have stayed in the town because of the open space, the trails, the environment, the ability to enjoy the outdoors, and to feel like a community in this town and be along with people who support the sort of beauty of living in Wilton. We have a lot of great volunteerism in the town. I think we can direct it more, as people have said here, to coming up with more comprehensive solutions. We need to act in a nonpartisan way. I don't know if you folks are aware, but the subcommittee that did the planning for the downtown Wilton area did not have any representation of Democrats on that committee, which actually violates provisions of the town charter. I think that's nonpartisan. I don't think that's nonpartisan. I think that we really need to work together. We need more people, and I hate to point one person out. Barbara Geddes, who's sitting here, comes to every planning and zoning meeting and sits through the meetings and contributes ideas about enhancing the architecture, signage, the beauty of the town, and I don't understand why you're not up here, but we have great volunteerism and people like that. So that's what I think will solve the problems in the town. The rest is math and dollars and those kinds of things, and working better with the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance.